Secret Diary of a Call Girl. It sounds seedy, even glamorous to some people, but what is the world of prostitution really like, and why do women get into it in the first place? Is it because they don't value their body? Is it because they love sex? Is it because they're desperate for money? What on earth goes through a call girl's mind? This is tonight's topic on the Chrissy B Show, and we'd love to hear your opinion. You can get in touch. You can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And if you have a question that you'd like to ask one of our guests, you can let our team know inside and they'll bring the questions through to us. You can call on 020-7686-6300. My guests tonight are Claire G, the author of a book called Hooked. And she's going to be telling us all about what life was like before for her and how she actually managed to get out of this lifestyle. And also we're going to be speaking to Rebecca Perry, who is a coordinator at Safe Exit, an organisation that tackles the problem of prostitution in the UK. And as always on a Friday, we'll be joined by Lisa Marie for her weekly fashion tips. So let's introduce our first guest, who is Claire G, best-selling author of Hooked, Confession of a London Call Girl, and her new book Unhooked, The Rehab of a London Call Girl. Hello, Claire. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you.
So first of all, I think you're extremely brave to come onto the programme tonight. And I know you've come here because you basically want to help others that are caught up in this lifestyle, because you yourself, you went through it, you came out of it, and now you have a new life for yourself.
Yeah,
But you've written 2 books to basically help other women that may be going through or even considering going through it.
Yeah. I think that the main purpose for me writing the books was to say that, you know, this is the hell that I went through, and that I came out of it, I survived it, and I've managed to create a completely different life, and it's been very, very hard work, but I'm here. You know, I've left my past behind me, I've learnt a hell of a lot of lessons, and things have changed, and things can change.
Can you tell us a bit about your childhood and if that affected decisions that you made later on in life?
Yeah, I mean, my dad brought me up alone. I don't know my mum. My mum left us when I was 5 years old. I mean, my childhood was happy. It's really difficult for me to say that as a direct result of that, I went on to make some catastrophic choices. Obviously, there's things that happen in your past influence your choices as an adult, but yeah, I mean, you know, my childhood was happy. I didn't talk about my mum. I always missed my mum. And that was very difficult, because it was a secret. I kept that locked inside for a lot of years. In fact, for a lot of years, I didn't ever talk about her. And instead, I questioned constantly why she'd given me up. Hadn't she wanted me? What was wrong with me?
Had that affected your self-esteem?
That affected my self-esteem tremendously. I mean, you know, it was constant in my head. I was just constantly questioning, wasn't I good enough? And I didn't speak to my dad about any of this stuff. And then eventually, you know, I see it now as that I was a walking time bomb. And eventually I found alcohol, which instantly just eased my worries, my anxieties.
Temporarily?
Yeah.
So while you were drinking, you felt better about yourself? And as soon as the effects wore off, back to normal, would you say?
Yeah, back to my normal anxiety. So whilst I was actually drinking, I stopped obsessing about my mum. I stopped trying to be a perfect daughter, which had been my plan to keep my dad. So I really overworked at school, and I, you know, if my dad told me to be in bed at 7, at bang on 7, I'd be in bed. I never questioned him, because I was obsessed with the idea that he might leave me as well. So yeah, when I found alcohol, momentarily it eased all my stresses, and then of course when it wore off, I was back to being the person I was before I was drinking.
So then you got into the drug side of things as well?
I got into the drugs when I was like 15. I basically got friendly with a girl that was a couple of years older than me, and at the time she was dabbling with drugs. And curiosity, I decided to try as well. And yeah, just, you know, that took my escapism onto another level. And as soon as I discovered drugs, that was it. I was off. I mean, I was off in a world of my own.
Is that when you really lost control?
That's when I started really losing control. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was so much even losing control. I think at that point was when a level of selfishness really kicked in. And when I say that, I'm mainly thinking about my dad, because my dad's my only family. And I think at that point, I kind of disregarded the fact that he was continuing. I mean, he knew there was something wrong. You know, I'd stopped working at school, my temperament was different, and I was completely self-absorbed. All I wanted to do was drink and take drugs, which basically meant all I wanted to do was just escape myself constantly. And the more I was doing this, the harder it was to actually be able to sit with myself when I wasn't on it. Yeah.
What age were you when you got into the prostitution side of things?
I was 23.
Did someone introduce you to it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately you make your own choices. I mean, I knew somebody, an old school friend of mine, I knew that she was selling herself in order to make money. She had a drug problem. I had a drug problem. I was penniless. Obviously now I think, well, why didn't I get a job? You know, not having qualifications isn't an excuse for me not having a job. I still could have had a legitimate job. But because there was other things at play, such as my self-image, my self-esteem was very poor, my self-image, I hated myself, to be honest.
I think it's very easy for people to judge and say, oh, you know, people make their own choices, because I know four ex-prostitutes, 4 other ex-prostitutes, and they all go saying the same things. It's to do with their self-esteem. It wasn't something that they wanted to do. Obviously, no one wakes up thinking or has a dream, I want to do this for a living. But there's always some underlying problem there, that they think there's no other way, there's nothing, or they're not worth anything better, to do anything better. They don't have that confidence.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. As far as I'm concerned, it's all about emotionally, I was really struggling, and the only times when I felt I wasn't struggling was when I was taking drugs or drinking. And so, you know, in terms of finding a legitimate job, that didn't really enter my head. Yeah. It just didn't enter my head. It's crazy, but it just didn't. I was so my friend was selling herself, and I remember at first I was really shocked. We'd grown up together. Like, oh, I would never do that. Was that your kind of thinking?
No,
but I think at that point I hadn't even considered it. It hadn't even entered my psyche about if I would or wouldn't do it. I was just shocked that she did. And then I was even more shocked when she told me that she would do it without being drunk or out of her head on a drug. And I thought, well, you know, how does that happen? How does she do that? But anyway, desperation, yeah, desperation, and I did it. So I then, she told me that she had, and then about 4 or 5 months later, I approached her, and I told her, you know, I've been thinking about what you said. I think I'd like to try.
How did you feel after the first time?
It's horrific. It was a turning point in my life. It's just horrific. It's, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. It opened up something that took a few years to close the lid on again. I shouldn't have done it.
At that point, did you kind of try to get out of it at that point, or
no?
Had you reached the point when now you think it's too late now? I've done it now.
No, you know, Chrissy, it was really, really simple. The thing was, so I made the decision. I approached my friend. we put an advert in a local paper, and I went and knocked on a client's door that evening or a couple of days later. Went in, I left. 20 minutes later, I got the money. I got some Coke. I got a bottle of Jack Daniels, some cigarettes, and I did them that evening. Yeah. The next morning, I woke up, and the level of anxiety that I had thinking about what I'd done the night before was unbearable. And I was skinned. So I did it again. And that was it. That was it. Just like that. It went from, I did it, I got the money, I spent the money that evening, got trashed, woke up the next morning, I couldn't face myself, I couldn't face what I'd done, and so did it again. That's what...
So you got into a cycle, you couldn't stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Shockingly easily, but it's only shockingly easy when you've got emotional problems in the first place. Yeah. If I didn't have those emotional problems, I'd have probably never... I'd have been shocked at the idea that my friend was a prostitute.
Not even gone there.
And I would not have even thought about going there.
What was the worst moment for you, would you say?
I can't say that there's a...
Was it all?
Yeah, there wasn't like a defining moment where I thought, you know, I've got to change this, I've got to stop this. It was constant. I was on a treadmill. My self-image never improved. It got worse, if anything. So when I wasn't, so for an example, in the mornings, usually I'd see a client in the evening. That wasn't getting any easier. So the build-up leading, going to see the client, I was anxious as hell. That always remained. For the whole time that I was doing it, that remained. The next day, the self-disgust and anxiety and self-hatred about what I was doing remained. In fact, that got worse. And as it got worse, my inability to physically take care of myself. So to have my hair...
It never got easier.
It never got easier for me. No. No, because, you know, it wasn't meant to happen to me. It's not meant to happen to anyone, but it wasn't meant to happen to me. I was brought up well. My father loved me. He provided me with a beautiful home, everything. And yet, this happened.
That shows that it can happen to anyone.
It really can.
It can happen to anyone.
It really can. Somebody who's vulnerable, desperate.
Yeah.
And anything's possible. That's one thing I've realised. Anything's possible.
Claire, unfortunately, we have to go to a quick break, but we are going to keep you with us because we want to talk to you some more about this and how you managed to turn your life around as well. And we're also going to be joined by Rebecca Perry, coordinator of Safe Exit Project, that helps people to get out of this lifestyle. But if anything you're hearing on the show tonight has affected you, if you are caught up in all of this, you want to get out, or you'd like to ask a question, do give us a call, 020 7686 6300. If you have a question for Claire, we can pass that on to her and she'll answer you as well. 020 7686 6300. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, and I'm also now joined by the coordinator of Safe Exit Project, that's Rebecca Perry. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. So you've been hearing everything that Claire's been saying. And tell us what you do with your organisation.
OK, well, Toynbee Hall is really a kind of multi-agent, multi-purpose organisation working within London for people who are at a disadvantage or within poverty. And within Toynbee Hall, we deliver the Safe Exit scheme, and that delivers a service for women who are working on street prostitution working with a diversion scheme. So for women who have been arrested, they're given the opportunity to engage with our service, so we can actually support them and help them if they want to look to exit, or if they want any aspect of support. So that might be accessing a GP or someone to talk to, or accessing advice around drug or alcohol dependency. But also we offer support through any means as well. For
Are
women.
they quite open to that, or are they so far gone that they feel so badly about themselves that they think they can't get help?
It depends on the individual. We work with a lot of different clients with a lot of different needs, and their needs vary so broadly that we really have to provide a flexible service for them, and really listen to what their needs are and try to do our best to support them.
Now, how do you both feel? Because I know sometimes on TV, prostitution is really glamorised and they're making it look like, oh, it's really good, there's lots of money and you wear nice clothes and you're drinking champagne. And it's quite sickening for me to see that, because that's not reality, is it? But how do you both feel about that?
I mean, it certainly on the surface can be reality, but that's not actually what's... It's so damaging. I mean, it's just not... Few glasses of champagne, you can buy champagne by working in a, having a proper job. It's just crazily, it just mentally messes with your mind, it affects your relationships. Some of the scars that I have taken years in which to heal. I mean, I left that world behind 8 years ago, and yeah, some of the stuff, it takes a hell of a lot of hard work in order to try and heal.
Now, some women may be thinking, okay, I'm not going to actually go and stand on a street corner. Maybe if I work from hotels, it's better. It's not going to be as damaging to me. What would you say to that?
I mean, the clients that we work with to support predominantly are working on street prostitution, but I think that it's a conversation we've had earlier on today is about the kind of close proximity, and that actually there isn't a difference between the emotional trauma that's experienced by the women.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the only difference is probably about confidence. Obviously externally the environments can be very different, of course they are, but yeah, emotionally then it's just about confidence. Yeah, it's interesting how a lot of people do seem to think that there's a hierarchy within prostitution, and it's sad because that sort of makes some people think that working from a hotel is okay, and it's just not. It's not.
How did you yourself get out of it in the end?
Well, I chose to go to a 12-step rehabilitation centre because I was trapped. I didn't know what else. I didn't know what to do. I know there's a lot of organisations out there that will help women, but I just wanted to escape London. I knew of a rehabilitation centre which was residential, and near Bristol. I went down there for 3 months, got a lot of intensive counselling, but of course that's just the start of the journey. There's a huge amount more to do. When I left, I saw that my doctor, who arranged for a psychotherapy, I've seen all sorts of different kinds of therapists, because again, once I'd put down the drugs, you're left with the same person that actually started using in the first place. So I was very damaged. I was carrying a lot of problems which needed to be faced, and it's been a long process to try and resolve some of those. And I'm getting there. I have. Some have been easier to bury than others, but yeah, I mean, I'm getting there. I'm different. I'm better, I'm well.
Yeah. Great. And Claire, how do you, hearing this as well, I know it's really encouraging, Rebecca, sorry. I know it's really encouraging to hear, that someone went for that, but they have come out of it, and I know this is what you deal with every day.
Definitely.
But what's the most difficult thing that you have to deal with?
I think, for the client, for the individual?
For yourself, what's the main resistance that you get, maybe?
I think it's down to the individual, and as you were saying, it's being able to have a realistic expectation that there's not a short-term solution. and that you have to invest a long-term kind of outlook onto delivering a service to support women if they want to exit, or if they just want to access therapeutic support, because actually at that point in their lives they can't even consider exiting. It's just about getting themselves emotionally more stable. So it's about responding to the individual's needs and not putting unrealistic expectations on them. Safe Exit do a lot of work to raise awareness as well, and working within a multi-agency context, ensuring that the client can access a range of different services to meet their different needs, and that may not immediately be ultimately exiting prostitution. It may be something else about their own health needs or their alcohol and drug dependencies. It's a completely different kind of down to the individual and what they need.
What about preventing people from getting into it in the first place? Do you help people with that as well?
We work again within a multi-agency context, so it's working with agencies that may have kind of specific services for younger people, and also identifying if there are any younger people involved within street prostitution, and trying to work with them and encourage them that there is support available and that they can access that support.
And that's for anyone, right? Because you were telling me earlier, sometimes people might think, oh, you know, I don't need it as much as maybe someone else, so I'm maybe not going to take up their time. But it's for anyone that is even considering it or is going through a hard time that needs help.
And I think it's really important that we don't place unrealistic expectations on an individual, and about building that relationship, so actually they get to know who the scheme worker is, and they build that understanding, and they get to know what the service offers, and they get to know the relationships, because it can take a long time to build up that level of trust about actually what we're not putting unrealistic expectations on them.
I was just going to say, because, you know, trust and, you know, I think that is probably one of the biggest barriers that a lot of working women would have to try and overcome, because invariably they're damaged to start off with, and then they get involved in prostitution, which damages them more, and then to try and actually gain some sort of faith in another human being is quite a challenge.
Let's talk about the other side now, the men involved. Now, how I was reading on your website that you do try to reduce demand for that. So how do you actually do that?
Well, again, it's in relation to the role that we take kind of strategically and working in the multi-agency. So we work closely with the police, who have previously delivered curb calling programmes, such as change programmes for men who have been arrested for curb calling. So across London there are various campaigns that go on.
Are the men from all walks of life?
So it's really about educating, and also about educating the effects and the impact it has, the emotional trauma on the individual. And that's really important as well. So
do you work on like changing their image of women as well, because maybe obviously they have maybe some kind of wrong image of a woman and what she's supposed to...
On the change programmes, they look at those. So they have historically been delivered through different services. So it's really about working towards getting agencies aware and refocusing the attention onto the demand as well, and actually away from actually the selling of.
Okay. And Claire, if there's maybe a lady watching now that thinks, look, there's no other way for me, and maybe she needs money, or maybe she thinks she's not worth anything, that maybe something's happened in her past and that she thinks this is the only avenue for her to go down is to sell her body because she doesn't care about herself anyway. What advice? I know it's a bit of quite a broad question because it depends, but what would you say to her?
To hold off. To not rush into it. There's no amount of money that's ever going to salvage what she'll lose as a result of just even once selling herself, working as a prostitute with one person, one client, 20 minutes. There isn't any amount of money that will actually buy what she loses back, because you lose a part of your spirit in that moment. It's gone. And you can try and, I now try and fill that, the broken part of me, I try and fill by doing things like this, trying to be open about what happened, and to talk about the fact that I have recovered. I have changed. My life's completely different, and not to feel drenched in shame, because actually I'm quite a normal person. You know, I just get about my daily business, and I'm just a normal girl, you know. I just made some horrendous choices, and they had massive repercussions on me and on my father and on some of my friends. But, you know, we change. People can change, exactly. And I'm healing, and, you know, things are good. And it's just anybody that considers that to be an option, to maybe try and reach out to an organisation. Talk to people, but you know, it's just don't do it. There are other options, and maybe really have a look at what's really going on, because I don't believe it will be purely about the money. No. You know, there are other options out there.
And so your first book is focused on, you know, what you went through emotionally.
It's the chaos, really.
And then the more recent book is about basically how
I recovered. Yeah. Okay. So the first book is about just all the pain and the damage that was caused, and then the second one is I can't say it's more upbeat, because it's not, because once I stopped the drugs, stopped drinking, stopped the prostitution, you know, it was a hell of a journey. And so the second book isn't particularly upbeat, but it certainly documents very clearly how I recovered.
I think you're amazing to come on here to talk about it and everything you've been through, and you're still here and you're still fighting. So I think you're brilliant for doing that and speaking in front of all these people as well.
No,
and I really know that people are going to be helped by your story.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
And Rebecca, so I was also reading on your website as well that you've been putting some measures in place because of the Olympics. What have you been doing?
Yeah, again, it's working with lots of different organisations across London to look at how we can respond to any increase in demand, but also ensuring that we're putting in the right appropriate measures for women to assist them and support them and to help them to make positive changes. So it's really just putting in any preventative measures that we could put in prior to the Olympics, and just thinking ahead really, and making sure that if any women were displaced through the Olympic period, they can access that support in the right place.
Okay, lovely. Thank you both so much for sharing that with us. And please, people at home, if you are going through anything, it might not even be, you know, prostitution, it might be like a different problem altogether. You have a past. Don't think that you can't recover. I've spoken to so many people that have been through hell and they've managed to rebuild their lives. And one thing I would say is that don't worry about what people think, because who cares anyway? At the end of the day, I know it's hard if people are gossiping, but they don't understand where you've come from, what kind of life that you've been through, the trauma that you've been through as well. They don't understand. So you just have to think of yourself, you know, start building your life, and things can completely change for you. As I've spoken to so many people that have really transformed their lives, and many of them, the past doesn't affect them anymore. They're happily married, they've moved on with their lives. It is possible. You are special, no matter what anyone says to you, no matter what you think about yourself, you are special, okay? So I just wanted to leave that with you. Now, but if you do need to talk to someone, please do give us a call, 020-7686-6300. You can visit the website. All the information will be on the website as well, chrissybshow.tv. I'll see you after this break, and joining us will be Lisa Marie, who'll be talking about the fashion tip, and also we're going to have our regular makeup tips. So we'll join us after then. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, and as always, on this day we have our Lisa Marie joining us, who's going to be talking about some fashion tips. But first, we have our lovely Flavia Liao as well, all the way from the US, who's going to give us the makeup tip for today.
Hi, welcome back to the Fashion Block at Chrissy B Show. Today's tip will be on how to choose the right foundation for your skin type and your skin color. First, you have to go to a store where you can look at the foundations, can try them on. Don't buy a foundation by the name of the color, because sometimes you won't find the right color for your skin, and sometimes when the foundation dries, it will look a little bit darker. So the best way to find the right color is to pick 3 colors that you think that they might be your color, and you can put them right on the side of your face, and you see that it is close to your skin color. So you apply a stripe right on the side of your face. Don't try them on your hand, because hands are not the same color as your face. So if you're gonna wear the foundation on your face, try them on your face, on the side of your face. And you get a second color that you think that it might be your skin color, you apply it right on the side. Second stripe and the third stripe. Write the names of the colors down, because when you come back, you have to get the right color, and if you don't write it down, probably you'll forget. So then you apply the third stripe right here. After 10 minutes, it's good that you leave the store, because sometimes the light of the store, at the store, is not too good for you to compare the colors. So leave the store, do something else. After 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you go back and you check in the mirror, and the stripe that disappears is the color that you should pick, that you should buy. And I hope I have helped you, and I hope you enjoyed, and I see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Flavia, and please don't forget to wipe the stripes off your face, or you're going to look pretty strange walking around outside.
Yeah, very strange, not good look.
Hello, Lisa Marie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And you've been somewhere special today, haven't you? What have you been up to?
I have. I went to Africa Fashion Week today, and it's only the second time that it's happened here in the UK. So it was a really, really great afternoon. I got my lovely necklace.
Wow, that's lovely.
From there. So yeah, it was a really, really great afternoon.
And you've actually done some filming there, which we'll be sharing with all of you.
Yeah, we've got to interview like some of the designers, some of the models, and then some people that also watched the show as well. So it was a really good day.
Wonderful.
Yeah, had a good time.
Okay, so you have some fashion tips for us today.
I do today, so that's why I've worn my dress. I don't know if I stand up. You can see this little detail here. It's called a peplum. So that is the style that now it started.
I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, it started spring, summer, and it's also set to carry on big for autumn, winter. So the peplum, it just refers to the ruffle, like I just said, that's there, and it suits most body types.
What if you've got big hips though? Because when I was sort of first saw them, I thought maybe that's going to make me look bigger than what I actually am.
It's about the size of the peplum, because then some of the things that I've got today, we've got some more extreme and some more simple. So like what I have on now is a very simple version, and you can also split it, because you can have peplum skirts, peplum tops, so you just go for the one that might suit you better. So for example, if you are worried about your hips, you could wear a dark peplum skirt and a bright top as well, and then the peplum just to keep it down, not so exaggerated, so it doesn't exaggerate your hips. So also, this is not always one good for apple shapes, which is then they carry a lot of weight around the middle, because it can emphasize that, because it's quite the best shape it suits is hourglass, but then most people who are hourglass suit most things as well, because of the proportions of the body. So as it comes in the middle, flatters nice over the hip. So that's the one it suits the most, but most people can still wear it as well.
And if you've got like a pretty straight figure as well, that's probably quite good for that.
Really good, because then it gives you hips. So if you've got that kind of rectangular or boyish shape, you can go for the more exaggerated peplum, because it's going to give you some nice shape, give you some nice hips as well. So we can start by looking at our first one, our first picture. This one I love, I want for myself. It looks quite expensive, but it's only £30 from Dorothy Perkins.
Wow.
Yep, and this is part of their new season stock. So this is, again, it's similar to mine, so it's not an exaggerated peplum, so it will suit most body types as well. And the nice detail there on the waist, it also, if you don't have much of a waist, it'll give you that illusion more of a waist as well.
I've seen a certain friend of mine called Gemma from DKW wearing something like that recently.
Well, yeah, we're giving away your secrets. Sorry, Gemma.
She looks good. She looks lovely.
So our second one, it's Similar colours there to
that's
mine.
Gorgeous. I love that.
You met actually with this designer, Karen Millen.
Oh,
recently,
okay,
yeah.
yes.
So this dress is £175 from Karen Millen.
Gorgeous.
But this is beautiful. And the peplum here being dark, it's something that can help skim over your hips as well. And you can't see it properly in this picture, but down the side you can see it's dark. So it's going to give you that illusion of a slimmer figure as well. So it's kind of like...
Oh, I need to get that dress.
One of the celebrities that started that off, I think, was like Kate Winslet. She went to the, I can't remember which award ceremony it is, in this dress, and it just gave her this amazing figure because she's got an amazing figure anyway, but being dark panelled at the sides and then it was light at the front, and that's what gave her even more of an hourglass figure. So that one, again, if you worried about being a bit bigger, because we know that Karen Millen dresses are very form-fitting as well.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Or I sometimes go size up, it's the easiest way. So that one, it'll slim you down as well, or give you that silhouette down the side as well. So that's a gorgeous dress, £175. So moving on, our next one, this is an example of a peplum top. So as I said, if you're unsure about your body shape and the wider hips, you could go for something like this. Dog's tooth, the whole black and white, kind of channeling the Chanel type vibe, which is always classic, never goes out of fashion. So if you wore that on top of a black straight pencil skirt, added some really nice statement jewellery there, you know, you could even around the waist bring a red belt, make something, a bit of colour to pop there. So that's another good take.
What about if you wanted to wear trousers? What kind of style would you wear?
You can still, well, I would wear very, again, slim-fitting trousers. And if you're staying on trend, there's one called 7/8. It's similar to 3/4, but it ends just above your ankle. Always wear those with heels, and it doesn't shorten, because if you wear short trousers and you wear flat shoes, they can shorten you.
A bit stumpy.
Yeah, especially if you are quite petite. But if you wear them with heels, it'll still make your legs look lovely and long.
Lovely.
That's another one. So our next one, I love this. Bright red, again, another great way to stand out, another great take on this trend. And again, it looks quite expensive, but it's only £16.99 from New Look. So really similar things to what you can do, as I said, with the dog's tooth one. And obviously, if you are a bit unsure about the tops of your arms, this cap sleeve there will hide those little bits at the top anyway, and still leave the rest of your arm looking great.
That's lovely.
And just wear that again over trousers, like you mentioned just before, or also a nice little pencil skirt as well.
I think I need to wear one of these on the show.
Oh, I think, yeah, let's go shopping, make it happen. So the next one, if you just want to update your wardrobe and you're not totally sure about the trend, this great belt, again from New Look, is only £6.99. So all you have to do is just pop that on top of a plain dress, on the bottom of a plain top.
That's clever.
And it's another way to break up your outfit there, just to update it if you're not sure about the trend. Because I know with some things, people are really unsure about trying something, going the whole way. So this way, if you just pick up an accessory, it's an easy way and the cheap way to update your outfit and bring it straight into autumn winter. Because I know, even though it's August already, can you believe it?
I know, it's almost over, people. We haven't had any sunshine.
I know, and it's already going again. But this is a great way to update it for autumn winter. So our next one, classic black pencil skirt with the peplum. This is
I have to admit, when I first saw these,
Yeah.
because I used to wear things like this when I was like, can't remember the age, but I used to think, because my mum used to dress me in some really strange clothes and like older than what I was. I think it was in my teens, and she used to dress me in things like this, and I always thought it was kind of like a more mature ladies kind of style.
Yeah.
But it seems quite young and hip now as well,
it's
like for any age.
Yeah, this kind of like ladylike dressing, thank goodness, is coming back into fashion, which I really like.
Yeah.
You know, based on people like Marilyn Monroe's been in the headlines quite recently, because I think it's coming up to her 50th anniversary of her death, and that kind of era when women actually had curves on the screen and they were celebrated. So this kind of fashion, the ladylike trends.
It's about time.
Yes, I agree. So as I said, £34.99 from Mango, that skirt. And again, as you brought up earlier about if you are worried about your hips being, you know, getting exaggerated with this trend, something dark on the bottom, a nice jazzy top, statement necklace like I'm demonstrating here, that will help you with that trend, another way to bring it out. And I have one more here from Dorothy Perkins, another skirt. This one is £25, and it's got the lovely little as well detail there on the top to accentuate the waist, the little black band. But just another update so that we're not always going with black, because it is great
colours,
to,
girls.
yeah, it's great to update your wardrobe, bring a little bit of colour into it. And we know we are going to autumn, winter, but we're not there yet. So now we're in fall.
Not yet, please.
We're
not ready for it yet.
We're in autumn, so it's just about that weather kind of changing. And all of these outfits, these pieces will take you right through to autumn, winter. You just get out this dreaded tights, the dark tights, or update them with colour again. Another way to bring, you know, a little update to your outfit. So that's my tip there this week.
Thank you so much.
No
and
problem.
You'll be back again with us next week, I hope?
will be indeed.
Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so there's your fashion tips for the week, and we have reached, unfortunately, the end of the Chrissy B show for today. But if you do want to get in touch, you can visit our website. Want to know more about the program, if you want to see past shows as well, we've got all the past shows. This one will be up in a couple of days as well. We also have everything on YouTube as well. All the information you can find on chrissybshow.tv. If you want to tweet at any time, it's Chrissy B Show. Facebook, it's The Chrissy B Show, and you can call as well, 020-768-66300. We're going to be here for a few more minutes, but before we go, we do have our funny video. But just to tell you about Monday's program, it's titled Youth Today, Leader Tomorrow, and we'll be challenging public opinion and showing that troublesome youths can become a very positive influence in society. So I'm always under the belief that, you know, never give up on people, that you can always turn your life around, and you're going to see that on Monday with some young people that we're going to be having on the program. So that's all for today. We're going to leave you with this video, and we'll see you. Is it Friday today? I always get my days. It's Friday today. I'm sorry.
No,
it's Friday. So I will say to you, have a good week. Just all the days seem the same when I'm doing the program. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye for now.